Let's work from top to bottom, mobilizing all of the joints in the body as we go. Starting off with our neck, just simply drop your ear to one shoulder, allow your chin to drop in towards your throat as you gaze downwards, rolling across to the other shoulder and then continuing on and around. Keep the movement focused on the side part of your circle and also the down and forward part. So you don't need to throw the head backwards. The circle is more forward and sideward. So a couple more in that direction, and just really be aware of the experience of the movement rather than trying to force it. Switch it back around the other way. Feel that you're exploring movement, you're enjoying movement, you're noticing what's going on with movement for today, rather than trying to be aggressive about it. And back up again. Bring your shoulder blades forward, up, back and down. And as you roll around with the shoulder blades, be aware of keeping your arms just loosely dangling by your sides. So the arms feel very soft and heavy as we glide the shoulder blades around on the rib cage. Putting your attention and focus where the movement is occurring, really asking yourself, how does the body feel today? Fingertips resting on your collarbones. Bring your elbows closer together. Bring them a little bit up. Bring them out and back down and again. The fingers stay soft, the hands relaxed. And as we make these circles, we're looking to see, well, where can that circle go to? While keeping the torso tall and steady. So we're avoiding making a big movement with the torso. We really are just making the movement in the shoulder joint. So this is very much focused on the shoulder joint itself. Beautiful movement to open up across the chest a little bit as well, create a little bit of space there. And dropping the arms back down. We're going to bring some more specific mobility to the shoulder joint and complex. So bring your arm forward, leading with your thumb. And when the hand comes to the top of the movement, turn the palm outwards and then lead backwards with your little finger, leading back towards the wall behind you and downwards. And then repeat. So thumb leading, the palm faces inwards. Then at the top of the movement, turn the palm outwards and leading with the little finger downwards. So you can feel we're bringing quite a complex range of movement into the whole shoulder area, the shoulder joint, the shoulder blade, the collarbone. Keep the movement slow. And as with all of our movements, we're seeking to appreciate and work through the movement that you have, rather than looking to force for an excessive or larger movement. Let's switch over, try that on the other side, making no assumptions that one side should be the same as the other. The thumb leading, reaching upwards with your fingertips, turning your palm outwards, and then your little finger reaching towards the wall behind you and back down. Respect your range of movement for today. And one of the things that we're doing with this mobility routine is we're looking to experience what's actually going on with the body today. So we may notice cranky areas that we didn't quite know were there, and we may need to just take note of that when we go into further activity. Back to center. Some spine mobility. Let's start with a simple spine twist. Imagine that from your hips down, you are set in concrete. So from here down, it's not going to move. Your hands rest on your chest and your shoulder blades drop softly. Rotate the whole torso to one side, back to center, and then rotate the other. So visualize each and every vertebrae in your spine rotating on the one above and below. Breathe out to turn and breathe in to face forward. Now do make sure that your hands are turning from one side to the other. So there should be, if there was a laser light shining out of your hands, it would sweep across the room from one side to the other. Visualize this deep twisting in your spine, almost like wringing out a wet towel. So a lovely, lovely movement for lubricating and nourishing the spine. A very simple side bend, allowing one arm to feel heavy as you bend to that side. Picture your torso like a little accordion, opening up that on one side and squeezing and compressing on the other. So feel that lovely sense of the spine itself bending from one side to the other, feeling a heaviness in the arms, the head and the shoulders as we do so. Bringing the feet a little bit wider apart, bend the knees, holding on to the hips, feel that you swish the pelvis around in a nice smooth circle. As we're swirling around, visualize your tailbone inscribing a nice circle in space. We're lubricating the hip joints. So picture that ball and socket rolling around here. And really feel the pelvis itself getting this lovely swirling movement going on. And back around the other way. Such a nice movement for all of the muscles that attach from your pelvis to your hips. Giving them all a nice little swishing around and loosening out. And back to center. Combining hip mobility with a balance challenge is a winner. If we need to, we place fingertips on a wall or a table or a chair or something for a bit of balance, but do work towards being able to do this without additional support. Now, we're going to place our hands on our hips and we're going to think about trying to keep the pelvis relatively level. So we don't want the pelvis moving around too much. Bring your knee up towards your chest. Now from here, picture that your knee is like a gate opening to the side. Wherever your thigh is at, we want it to stay in that position and pivot the heel backwards. So we're pivoting your heel towards the back wall. From here, push the heel backwards and upwards. So you're trying to bring your heel up as much as you can, avoiding too much tipping forwards. We're trying to keep the torso nice and tall here. Knee comes forward, opening to the side, pivoting, and then your heel pushing back behind you. So this is quite a high tension activity, and we can feel the hip moving around in the ball and socket, but we can also feel all the musculature around that joint working really, really hard as well. Explore the movement as with all of our movements so far. Don't force it. So we're looking to find our full range and work with it. Let's switch over and work the other side. Standing up nice and tall, bring the knee up towards the chest, then open the knee to the side. Keeping this position of the thigh bone, pivot the heel backwards, and then we're looking to push that heel right up behind us, keeping our torso as tall as we can. Knee forward, opening outwards, slowly, pivoting, reaching back and upwards. So we're taking your hip joint through complex movements here. Hip flexion, hip external rotation, internal rotation, abduction, and extension. So wonderful work going on here for that hip joint. At the same time as we're exploring all of that mobility, the working leg is unloaded. So we're not actually standing on it, are we? So this is a great way to improve upon our connection to healthy movement in that hip joint and to nourish that hip joint also. Let's bring our attention down to the lower leg, and we're going to come up onto the toes of one foot, and your heel is going to draw a circle in space. Do look to get the movement as much as you can in the heel and the ankle. You can notice that your knee and your hip joint are moving also. but we're looking to get that movement as much as we can down in the ankle. And then reversing that back around the other way. Bringing the heel sideways forward, sideways as much as we can. Switch over to the other side, lifting up the heel, and then drawing those nice slow motion circles around. Finding the full movement in all directions of that circle as possible. Reversing it, slow back around the other way, and observing any difference between the two sides as well, worthwhile. Also noticing any areas that just feel